dollars in various guises, and people may be wondering, particularly in your case, Mr. Harper, how you will finance those promises, where you may cut to justify investments in other areas and promises that will come due.
We've made promises that are very modest compared to the other parties, who have promised hundreds of billions of dollars in promises. We've made modest promises, and we will balance our budget before 2015 at the latest. But it's important, we feel, to continue to examine government spending in order to eliminate inefficiencies. That's the role of government. We need to invest in affordable investments while keeping your taxes low.
And then Mr.
Flaherty said that our figures were rigorous and professional, but there are other things we don't agree with. The unfair tax giveaways to the oil patch, $3.5 billion. We said that there's $3 billion going to tax havens, $1.7 billion from the banks. It's in their annual reports. We have to put a stop to that. Our figures are there. It's balanced, but our choices are different. And I'd like Mr. Harper to answer. Mr. Flaherty said there was a list. That's what he said to Maclean's magazine. So, can you tell us tonight what's on that list? Where are you going to cut? People want to know. Ms. Payet wants to know. If there's a list, why don't you publish it?
Mr. Doucette, we've been very clear. It's the role of government to eliminate spending. We are looking for 5% inefficiencies over the next few years in order to balance the budget, to eliminate the deficit quickly. This is the role of government. We're not making cuts. We're investing, making affordable investments while keeping your taxes reasonable, and that's important in order to create jobs for everyone.
And then Mr. Lay.
Well, I want us to be clear about this. We're going to keep the tax rate for major corporations at 18%. So this will help us to save $6 billion. With that $6 billion, we can help people like Ms. Bailly. For example, the caregivers at home. We can also work with the provinces so as to reduce waiting lists for childcare. And we can do that without increasing the taxes of Canadians like Ms. Payet. And that's our commitment. Because we really are in a hole. The hole which was caused by Mr. Harper, a record deficit, record wastage, buying planes without any corporate tenders. Now he's the one who should be explaining these wrong choices. We've made clear choices. And we can help people like Ms. Payet without increasing Ms. Payet's taxes.
Well, all political parties have the same amount of money to play with. Now the question is to priorise. What should we do with the money? For Mr. Harper, helped by Mr. Ignatieff, tax cuts for the richest in this country, for banks, those who have a lot already. And he celebrates that attitude. Well, we are not going to celebrate it. We have different priorities. We're going to cancel these tax cuts. And we're going to recalibrate the government's efforts to help families with their problems.
The majority of our viewership in Quebec is listening to you very closely to hear about one issue that has an economic aspect. We're talking about promises. What about the Champlain Bridge in Montreal? Investments between $2 and $6 billion. You have differing positions on this. We want to hear you on that. We don't have much time left, so you each have 20 seconds. How will you respond? Mr. Nadia.
Well, the first thing I would ask the Minister of Transport to implement is to build a new functional plan. You can have engineering studies, you can have environmental studies, and then after 2014, when we have the figures, when we know how much it's going to cost, then the government will have to build a new bridge.
Mr. Harper.
There were funds set aside for the Champlain Bridge in our budget. The Parliament should be working to pass this budget and provide these funds for the bridge. We have studied.
To build a new bridge?
And all of the options are, of course, on the table. But I will not adopt Mr. Ignatieff's approach, which is to say, which will use the funds for infrastructure in regions for a Montreal bridge.
That's not what I said. I made a commitment to build a new bridge.
I think the whole Montreal area the South Shore and the City of Montreal, everyone's asking for a new bridge. What's worrisome is that the Transport Minister has hidden the studies, and he had an obligation to publish those. You can't play around with people's
Well, we
safety.
support building a new bridge. We need one. We need investment not only for Montreal and that bridge, but we need an infrastructure program throughout Canada, because there are several initiatives that are very important. This is why in our platform we have provided for this type of investment, and for the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. They agree with us.
Thank you, gentlemen.